Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the show. Today's features my buddy, singer songwriter Dean Meadows. Had a great time hanging out with Dean, and special guest Lance Brunk joined us. And we just had a really good time hanging out in Lance's garage, talking music, played some live acoustic songs for you, and just had a great time catching up. It's been a long time since I got to sit with Dean, so get to know more about him and his story. So hope you enjoy this one. Do want to remind you, of course, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Roughneck Beard Company, an American Rambler located right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Swing over there and visit them off of Manchester in the Maplewood area and pick up some of their wonderful products. Of course, all natural. They've got great beard oils, beard balms, junk powder for your junk, an all-natural alternative to the Gold Bond or anything else that you've been using. So check all that out. I do want to recommend one of my favorite products, and that's their Roughneck Beard Batter. Roughneck Beard Batter is the ultimate beard and skin moisturizer. It's a blend of 8 nutrient-rich soft oils whipped together and directly into an unrefined shea butter for a moisturizing kick like no other. The highest amount of triglycerides and fatty acids available in the beard care market, hands down. World-renowned, but made right here in St. Louis. Again, you can find all their products at roughneckbeardcompany.com. You can shop there 24/7. You can use my code RPP15 for an exclusive 15% off your purchase. So it's a great deal. It's a great way to help support this show and support small business, small and local business. So get out there and check out Roughneck Beard Company. Also, big thank you to Heil Sound for their continued support and helping make this show sound great. Visit heilsound.com today and get yourself a new microphone. All right, of course, you can always find me at the new and improved rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Feel free to email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And keep an eye out. There's a lot of things going to be coming out this week. So I'm excited to share some new news with you. So with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode with my buddy, Dean Meadows.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Dean Meadows here on Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Dean Meadows.
How you doing, Shane?
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
And we also have a returning guest, Lance Brunk.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Yeah, this is like number 3 or 4, I think I've been.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my gosh.
Kicking mics. Yeah, man. It's cool to have you here. We having you back on the show. And, of course, it only seems appropriate because without you, I don't know that I would have met Dean. So, like, it's nice that this all kind of comes full circle. You were here. You were part of the introducing me to Dean, and now we're here hanging out and talking about all this stuff. We did some live jamming here in the garage, and that turned out real nice. And so we're gonna share some songs along the way. But I like doing this show because, like, I've known Dean now for several years.
Be close to 10, maybe.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark, I think, at least. And but the thing, I don't really know a ton of your story. Like, every time we get together, it's just, jamming and music and stuff and bullshitting around, fire or whatever kind of stuff. But it was not really like we get to talk. So that's what's kind of fun about this kind of setting, where we can kind of get into dive into more into what you're all about and your some of your experiences and stuff. But I know you do a lot of traveling. You spent some time living in Nashville and stuff and all this. But where is home?
7 years.
Where'd you grow up at though? Before you get to Nashville?
Tell my story here.
Yeah.
Well, I was born a poor black child. And, I was born in Connecticut, and so we lived there till I was like 3 or 4. But I don't remember that part of it,
Yeah.
But I grew up in southern West Virginia in the mountains, in a holler, Hatcher Holler, and we just. But we traveled a lot. My father was a nomad, kind of like me. I guess I feel like every day that I'm like more and more like my dad. But, we traveled a lot back to Connecticut and into Florida and Baltimore and things like that. So I was, he made sure that we had a diverse upbringing. So that was nice. But growing up in a tiny little town of less than 600 people in West Virginia, you kind of like hoped you would get out of there someday, and music was my route. And I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here and kind of be a big country star someday. Right?
Gonna be a big star someday.
Someday. But
so was that pretty early on you discovered that music was a thing for you?
Well, musically, I started playing drums in church. I went to a Pentecostal church growing up, which is just hardcore, just great music. I think I was like 10 or 11, and I started playing drums in church, and I started playing drums in school. So I was in the marching band. I was a band geek, and it was really a good introduction because neither one of my parents were musicians, so that gave me like that avenue. But I think everyone in the world but me thought I wasn't going to play in the NBA.
Right.
So like that was my dream in high school. I played basketball in high school, and once the basketball dream ended, I started singing, and I was like, okay, well, this is really cool. I'd never liked country music growing up, but probably around 16 years old, I was in my grandfather's house in Connecticut, and I overheard mountain music playing on the radio. And because he loved country music, I have pictures of my grandfather with like Ernest Tubb and Willie Nelson.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he was just a diehard country fan, and I didn't know it because you're a kid, you don't pay attention to things.
You were a metal guy, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I want to be a drummer in a hair band. You know? I thought Bon Jovi was gonna call me up, like Richie was gonna be like, I want this dude in our band.
Just waiting on that phone call.
I had my hair dyed, all teased up and everything, man, makeup and all. And then I discovered country music, and I love the lyrics. I love the story, and I love that it took me a place that I had never been before.
Yeah, man.
And then I said, you know what? I wanted to be a writer. And I didn't write a song for another 15 years, but when it did, it took off, and I really love that he introduced me to that. And my parents were so cool about introduced me to all kinds of music. We listened to Motown. We listened to John Denver, Don McLean, Charlie Pride, the Manhattans. It was all over the place as a kid with music, and I thank my parents for that.
Musical diversity is huge.
Yeah. Is Grandpa around long enough to catch you hear some of your songs?
What's crazy? He passed away right after I graduated high school, but my senior year, I joined the choir, and only for one reason, because I wanted to see what it felt like to be on that stage and do like a solo, And I got up there and sang The Dance by Garth Brooks. And, my mom being my mother, she always had her big, huge camcorder on her shoulder, recording all my ball games and everything. And he would show that video to everybody that came over his house. And he was so proud of that.
Everybody gather around. This is Dean's debut on the church stage.
It's my grandson, Dean. Sounds like a cat getting by an elephant, but it was horrible. Like I had no tone back then. It was I was trying to learn how to sing and
sitting over the corner while everybody's watching it.
Right. No, he was really proud of that. But I think about him all the time when I'm on stage. There's never been a time when I'm on stage that I don't think of him and and how proud probably he would be, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, you mentioned the basketball dream, and I was just talking about that a little bit ago. I had my buddy Ross Detweiler on, who's actually got to do that, live out the dream of playing pro baseball, still doing it. But I kind of talked to him about how, like, I think we all sort of had that dream growing up where it was like, man, I'm going to go pro, play basketball or whatever, so I was like, basketball was a huge part of my life too. I was kind of telling you off mic, but it was like we played all the time, hooping in the driveway and rec leagues and tournaments and everything, trying to did it all, and like of course watching Jordan and everything else, all that stuff through the 90s when I was growing up. Like I was just like, yep, this is what I want to do. But
if Coach would have just put me in, man, right, we would have won state.
Yeah. But there's definitely it's a tough kind of pill to swallow when that moment you realize maybe that sports dream's not really the one that's going to take me out of here.
Oh yeah, I remember my last game, my senior year. I held my jersey. I cried like a baby. It's over.
This is it.
What do they know?
Yeah.
They didn't draft me out of high school. A 5'11" white dude scored like 20 points a game. What's wrong with them?
All right. Yeah, but yeah, it's so it's cool that you found that love of music and that and especially that you at a younger age realized that songwriting was what you wanted to do. Were you writing already as like doing any kind of like poetry or doing any kind of writing or anything like that?
Like creative writing and storytelling and everything like that, like in school, is something that I did have a passion for back then. I just loved telling stories and making up jokes or stories or whatever that might, invoke an emotion in someone and make someone laugh. I wanted to be a comedian before I was a singer, before I wanted to be an NBA player, but I realized that wasn't going to work. So I said, well, we'll just take the singing route. But I did dabble in, writing, and creative writing was a big part of my life back then.
I feel like there's a bunch of guys like that, that's almost, because I feel like there's a lot of similarities. There's the performance side of it, obviously, but like there's so many great songwriters that have comedic timing with their stage banter and everything else that like these guys probably could be stand-up comedians,
right?
And like they're very entertaining at what they do. Mm-hmm. But then they can also sing a great song while they're
put yourself in front of that many people. You got to be quick-witted,
right?
Yeah, And I think too, you're constantly feeling like you're entertaining someone. So you're like, okay, I'm either singing or I'm making someone laugh.
Mm-hmm. And you meet so many people. That's the other aspect of it too. Is you're always so many different conversations with so many different people that you got to be on point because that's what you're expected to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But you, so let's throw in one of those songs, kind of give everybody a glimpse of what you've been doing, and what kind of this is one. This side of the grass is one that's kind of been around with us for a long time. I remember even Will and Lance recording a version of this for their project, and. But this is a song I've been a big fan of for many years. Awesome. And again, this is just you and Lance acoustic here in the garage. But let's talk about this side of the grass a little bit.
Where this side of the grass came from. I think this was probably. I was still living in Nashville. We were trying to write for my second record, which hopefully be coming out pretty soon. Got 16 brand new songs. But we were sitting around, hanging out. It was Thanksgiving weekend, and we were just, a couple of us were having a little bit of a hard time, just bitching and complaining about life. I know I was. And my buddy Brad stood up, and he said, man, you guys just stop complaining. We're here having a good time. You're still on this side of the grass. And I never heard that before. And I was like, oh, man, this has got to be written down somewhere. So I woke up with the chorus of this song on a piece of paper the next morning because I didn't remember writing it down after a little bit of moonshine from being back home. But the way it came about, I thank Brad and Derek was there and Josh, that this song was probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever written, and Lance and Will just cut the fire out of it, man. They just did it so well, and one of my
Chip did a really good job on that one.
Yeah.
The way he produced that one, turned out really good.
Fussing about his job, cussing about his kids, all the things he's gotta do, all the things he never did. His wife and this life, now he's trapped in this town. Yeah, his glass was half empty, so we ordered one more round. I was sipping on my whiskey, just biting my tongue, just sitting there listening. But when he was done, he looked up and said, "Buddy, tell me what's on your mind." I said, "The way I see it, you're still alive. And on the side of the grass, there's mountains and walls we'll have to climb. Here we'll all take some falls. They might slow you down, but I can promise you this. Even fences look better on the side of the grass." What you call living a nightmare, some call living the dream. They look over on your side, all they see is green. You may think that you're hanging by the end of your rope, but you gotta remember, well, there's hope. And on the side of the grass, there's mountains and walls we'll all have to climb. Yeah, we'll all take some falls. They might slow you down, but I can promise you that fences look better on the side of the ground. Yeah, and on the side of the grass, there's mountains and walls we'll all have to climb. Yeah, we'll all take some falls. They might slow you down, but I can promise you that even fences look better. Even fences look better. Yeah, fences look better on the side of the grass. You're still on the side of the grass.
Who was the co-writes on that with you?
I wrote that with Craig Monday.
Craig Monday?
Yeah. Yeah, what a great writer.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time writing with Craig, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Great song. And I think it's just, there's a lot of that throughout some of the other songs too, but there's just like a strong message of, especially of positivity and like having, that's not all over, not doom gloom. There's still positivity there. You're still here and stuff. So, and that's what I like about it too. But yeah, man, great song. And this, I guess we don't. Is there a recorded version out there available at all? Like for,
I think it's on Reverb Nation. So if you go to reverbnation.com/Dean Meadows, that's probably the only place you can find like a rough cut of it.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, man. But that's so I was thinking, you talked about kind of growing up and kind of traveling and being this nomad. And do you find that those kind of moments like that kind of helped? I feel like it can either go both ways. Like you can either kind of like become like a introvert and like kind of stick to yourself, or it forces you to be become an extrovert and having to make new friends and all the time and all these new cities and become a better person because of it all.
Right.
But I feel like even in your current state, you're you do a lot of traveling still.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you're saying, it seems to be a big part of your life for many years. But do you feel like all that kind of helped to make you a better writer and everything else? All of it.
Definitely, with being just out there. I was a really shy kid. Like, I was so quiet when I was a kid. I wouldn't talk to anyone. But I think that just prepared me, you know, everywhere that we would go and everything that we would experience. It helped me to take everything in, even if I could just stay within myself and then have that information, have those stories to write later. It definitely made me a better writer to be able to sit back and listen. Because you're gonna find the best lyrics that you've ever heard in your life when you hear people talk. Mm-hmm. And if you just kind of shut up and listen, you're gonna hear the hook or that line that you're looking for. You know, I was looking for the last song on my record when we were recording it, and my friend, he was like, "Hey, you need that song that says I'm here and I need to get here." That getting somewhere song that everybody has. And it was the 10th song that was going to go on the record, and I couldn't figure it out. And then we went down to Dan McGinnis. I was paying my piano player, and there was this older musician, and he had a few hits back in the day, and he wasn't having a good night. And he said, "You know, man, all I need is a road." And I wrote that down. And when you just listen to someone, and being able to travel around with my dad and watch him the way he was with everyone, it made me learn just to sit back and listen. That way I had those stories to tell later. Because you're not going to just sit in your room and come up with songs. You're going to go out there and experience life, and that's where you're going to come up with those ideas.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely it helped.
Do you get find any certain particular part of it that you draw inspiration from on the road or anything? Like, is there beach or mountains or anything else that really kind of move you?
I think it's like all of the above. Right. I love like listening to people's stories. I make friends everywhere I go. I'll talk to the homeless guy. I'll talk to the lady behind the counter. Anyone, just so I can hear their story that might influence something I can write about. You know, but it's not one particular thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been saying it for a long time too. Like, just like I don't know how to apply it to myself to be able to write, because I'm not a writer. I'm a huge fan, but I feel like there's so much of that. Like, it just, like you're saying, like I feel like especially old men, like if you just like they just like speak and speak in these hooks and stuff, you know, like
the wisdom.
Yeah, they and like. But they're just their natural like vernacular, like they speak in these sayings, and they like, you're like, again, like you're saying, like I never heard anybody say that, and a light bulb goes off, and it's just like, but there's so many of them, they just say lines, you're like, man, that's a hook in a song right there. So
yeah.
Problem is, there's so many of them that you hear and you forget,
right?
You know, like,
oh yeah.
But that's the beauty of it, I think. You know.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, that's so. Again, I'm kind of saying I've been drawn to country music for a lot of the same reasons with the storytelling, and I love that. You know, in the way that it feels like sometimes they're telling my story, or they tell the story so well that I can relate to. I can put myself in the situation where I can connect to that particular person in the story and stuff. So, and that's kind of the what's, you know, definitely been is a big part of why I love country music and stuff. So
we were having that conversation a couple weeks ago about it. Like, how can you make somebody believe? You know, you could write a song about anything, but if you can make them believe you,
right,
that's where you're going to hook them.
Mm-hmm. Honesty is everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you just feel like that person's being honest about it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Will Hogue, you know, and he's one of my absolute favorite writers, and I talk about him a lot on this show. But he's so prolific with his writing also, but he was like talking about like he'll sing these songs and some about his family and things, or he'll tell stories about his family, and then like the next song he's about, you know, whatever, you know, cheating or drugs or whatever or something like that, and people are like, you know, like, you really did. He's like, well, not all these are true stories in the song, but you sang it with such conviction, and people believe these are true stories and stuff. And
that's what's so good about Will Hogue, is he can write a song in the perspective of somebody else.
Right.
And that's one thing I always struggle with, is I write music to this my own perspective. But he can write it from the outside looking in, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's so great about the way he composes his music, you know?
Right.
It's good. I think you have to own it. You know?
Yeah. And he makes it his story.
Right.
Yeah. That's definitely a talent for sure. Like, you know, to be able to deliver with such conviction that people would believe you really did that, didn't you? Like, so.
Yeah, that was you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think, no, I made that up.
Well, that, and he can relate so much to it that, you know, you can almost like see him tearing up on a song, you know, like that
I think no matter what song you write, even though you're kind of making it up, just like someone makes up a movie or they're writing a book, there's a fiction, there's some truth to it.
Yeah.
And when there's that little bit of truth to it, then that's when you believe it. And when you believe it, you're able to deliver it.
Yeah.
It's great.
So, I get obviously being the passion for country music and stuff, but when you make that decision, like Nashville's what I got to do? I got to get there.
The day I graduated high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt like Nashville was like so far away, you know. It was 7 hours away from where I grew up, and it's like the dark side of the moon. You know, you're never going to reach there. And then the journey that life took me, I joined the military. I went back home, and I was kind of stagnant. Then I moved to Ohio, and I was there for a little while. And I got the opportunity when there was a job opening with my company in Nashville. But like, how does that happen? You know, so that's a bit of a sign when you're like, okay, this is something I need to do now. But that was the goal all along. From the day I left my hometown, I was like, I'm going to end up in Nashville someday. And you really have to, you know, set your mind to it, and don't take no for an answer.
Yeah. So you got to, I guess that's where you started working on your debut album then? Here With Me?
What, the day I left home?
Well, I mean, like when you got to Nashville and stuff, and like
probably a few years before I went to Nashville, I was playing in a band up in Ohio.
Okay.
And I knew I wanted to write, but I didn't know how to write. I couldn't fathom how you came up and structured a song. And it's really a craft. So I started studying. I would listen to workshops, go to Nashville and go to the Bluebird, and I'd listen to all these writers. And I got to know a lot of how they came up with it. You know, alliterations, internal rhymes, hooks, things like that really you don't think about if you're not a writer. Why the same letter sounds so good said over and over in a verse. So little things like that, I knew I couldn't write a good song unless I knew why that sounded good to us. So yeah, it was like 3 or 4 years before I moved to Nashville that I started studying songwriting, and I wasn't going to go there until I thought I was ready. And then once I got there, it was hit the ground running. I was like, okay, we're doing this.
That first album, who'd you record that with? Or that wasn't with Chip, was it?
Yeah, it was with Chip.
It was?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was lucky enough to meet a fine gentleman named Matt Kennan 2 weeks after I moved to town. You know, I was green. I rode my Harley down to a crawfish boil down on Music Row, and I met this arrogant, cocky, new upcoming artist, and he's like, hey, man, come hang out with me, man. We'll go write some songs. Yeah. We never wrote any songs, but we had a good time. You know, he's a good friend.
Yeah.
But he influenced me to be a better writer.
I remember, it's been several years now, but I remember sitting in my car driving, and I was listening to, we were talking on satellite radio earlier, Sirius, and I was listening to The Highway, and they were doing they used to do a segment, kind of like Highway Hang Time thing or something, and they were talking to Matt Kennan, and they played The Call, and that was the first time I heard that song, and I was just like, man, wow, it's
pretty good. Yeah,
like that's a powerful stuff, and it really just moved me, and I'm like, so it was pretty surreal, like when, and then turns out, like, knowing that you guys you guys became friends with Matt, and then now and Matt lives, not too far from me, and like, and he's been a guest on this show and stuff, and like, so it was kind of, it's just crazy that like, I heard this song on the radio, and all of a sudden now we became friends later and stuff, and like, it's kind of a wild thing how the world works like that.
It's awesome. Weird how everything goes full circle.
It is,
like
man.
How all the people you meet, like if I wouldn't have gone to this bar this night, I wouldn't be friends with this guy that I'm still friends with for 20 years.
Oh, it's great. Yeah,
it's awesome.
And the reason when I met Matt, and then he introduced me to Chip Martin, who's, to me, he's wonderful. He has such a good heart, and he's so patient, because being in the studio, especially with me, Chip always told me, he's like, Dean, you're no Barbra Streisand, so I have to take a few takes. I'm not like Dolly Parton, who does it in one take, or Barbra Streisand. And he's like, oh, try it again. And he's so patient with me. And once I found that, I'll never record with anyone ever again other than Chip. And he did such a great job, and he plays every instrument on every track.
He's unbelievable, man. The way he can hear a song and put it in a direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would give him a piece of paper, and he's going to put that song in a direction and produce that thing top to bottom, and it's going to be like, holy wow, where'd you come up with this?
And how did he hear it just like I wanted him to hear it?
Yeah.
I'll play him like a half-ass G, C, and D, and he'll just be like, no, this is how it's going to go. And he's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So that's Here With Me, your debut album. We're kind of talking about working on that, and that's available everywhere now digitally. You can find it on all the streaming platforms and things. But I gave it 2 listens this week, and I kind of just getting in the mood to hang out today, and just listening to some of those again. And like, I hadn't listened to it in a while, so like it felt good to revisit. And but I mean, it's like so much fun on there. Like a lot of really great stories. Like you talking about. Growing up in a holler, and I thought that getting down in a holler and stuff, like it's a fun party song, and there's a good variety on that record, which I like in my music. Also, is like you have those kind of rowdy party songs, but you also have really heartfelt, emotional songs. 5 O'Clock Shadow is a one that really always got me too. Like I don't have children of my own, but just hearing you tell your story and stuff through that song is really a cool thing too, man. So really really great writing on that record though.
Thank you, man.
It's funny, in my truck I don't use CDs anymore, and that CD somehow popped up somewhere, and I found it. I put it in my truck.
No way.
So every time when I want to go to like satellite or go to my auxiliary for Spotify or something, I gotta hit the media button, and the next step after the radio goes to the CD player, and it automatically kicks in. So every time I hit the media button, it's Dean like 5 O'Clock Shadow, and then I hit it again. I'm like,
shut up.
Yeah. I still haven't taken it out of the CD player for some reason though, because I know if I put it in my console or something, it's just gonna it's gonna go back into the abyss, and I'll find it in another 25 years.
Yeah. I knew when we...
But it is very good album.
Thank you. When I started writing that, and I did write all the songs on it, other than one while I was in Nashville. I wrote the one about my mom before I moved there. But I knew I wanted that album to be just a journey. I always felt like when I put in someone's CD that it should, like, every song should take me on a journey, as you went along. So... the way that came together, and thankfully to Chip and then my co-writers as well. I couldn't have done it without any of them.
Yeah. Is that She's My Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that got me because, again, I remember hearing it, years ago and stuff, but I lost my mom to cancer in 2019, December 2019. So, like, hearing you talk about your mom, and, like what she meant to you, and some of the some of the things, like it was pretty heavy for me, like when I was listening back to that one the other day. So yeah, it's tough, man. So
very well. It was one of those songs I knew I had to pay tribute to her, because she wouldn't, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mother.
Right. Yeah, me and my mom were real tight. She was always my biggest supporter, and going to my shows, and was whatever, if I needed anything, she was always there to so so there's a lot of that to where
she was a pretty hip chick, man. She'd be I'd see Shane, and Shane's mom would be there with her. I think we even went to a show. I think we picked her up one time and went to a show somewhere at like the pageant or something. It was like a blues concert or something. I can't remember what it was.
Well, once she retired, we went to all kinds of shows together. Went to and she really, obviously, like mentioned the blues. Like she got me into a lot of blues music and stuff. So like it's fun to then share my stuff with her. And like, but I took her to see like Gary Clark Jr. and stuff like that. And like so, but we'd hang out down. We'd go to Broadway Oyster Bar a lot, and she loved just being a part of the music and stuff too. So I mean, that's where my love for it came from, is from her playing records whenever I was a kid. So
that's awesome. Cool. And when you did Debstock, that was a cool that all those artists came out and they did a kind of a benefit type deal for her, and there was like 6 bands or so. Yeah, and like a couple really really good bands that. That was a really good, well-organized deal. Yeah,
I'm really happy how that turned out, and I was planning to do it again this year, making an annual event to continue to raise awareness and funding for brain cancer. And but obviously 2020 has been a weird year, and everything got shut down. It's
been tough for every musician, man.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back.
Everybody
bringing around, but
it's funny that song. When I moved in, before I moved to Nashville, I met up with the lady who ran the open mic at the Bluebird, and she's big influence on people, and she knows a lot of people in town. She actually knew Garth like when he first moved there, and went to Bluebird and played. And I played her like what I felt was the best song I'd ever written in my life. I'm like, here's my chance. I'm gonna play for this lady, and she gave me a little bit of her time in her house down there, and I played it for her, and she said, Dean, whatever you do, don't ever play that song for anybody ever again. She said, that was horrible. And what the reason was is I came up with this idea, and I just saturated it into the song, and what they call a cayenne pepper effect, where you come up with like a good idea, but just sprinkle it on there. Yeah. Don't just overwhelm people with it. And I was like, oh. So I've never played that song anymore. She said, what else you got? So I played her She's My Jesus, and she's like, now that's good. She said, so she started introducing me to people, and I would have never met any of the people that I met through networking if it wasn't for her, and her giving me that second play and be like, all right, let's see what else you have. Yeah. So She's My Jesus, was my in the songwriting family down there.
Yeah.
It's weird how you spend so much time on that one song, and then that's never the one that you think is going to be, that's never the one that catches somebody. You're like, oh man, I got this perfect jam, and you start playing it, and then it's the other one, like the B side of the fucking record. Right. You know what I mean? They're the one that's always the best one that comes around.
Yeah, I cried myself to sleep a few nights over that.
Well, I mean, I feel like that with like about everything. Like I'm not the guy that navigates or drawn to the hit. It's like I've always been a B-side kind of guy.
Yeah.
So like the one that's everybody's favorite is probably not my favorite, but there's something else in that record that I'm like, that's the one. Like right. So, but again, like, but if there's people that are for some reason they know why to push the one song and make it a hit, but it's not the one that always speaks to me. But but yeah,
album cuts are always the best. Then you hear something that's just like that hidden gem.
That's what's getting so sad about the music industry, though, is that you're losing those album cuts.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
They're not cutting them anymore because it's all about singles now, and it's like you're missing all this great music because they're only going to put out the one song, know? And it's
You mentioned Garth a couple times today, and you sent me a text that you actually were at the bar that he got like his start, right, in Oklahoma or something.
Yeah, I was working in Oklahoma City, and I get bored in my hotel room. I got to go out and check out things, so I drove up to Stillwater, and on Oklahoma. What is the university up there? Stillwater. Where did he go to school? OSU.
OSU.
Yeah, not Ohio State. For my Buckeye friends out there. And went up to Stillwater to Eskimo Joe's, and that's where he got his start. And it was pretty cool to stand there and see where he came from,
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild, man. Just like, I mean, like, especially as a country music fan, and anybody that's a fan of like a good story, like, Garth started just like everybody else and became, one of the largest entertainers in the world and stuff.
Oh,
Like, so it's
changed it for everyone, and especially like me. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so I was in high school when Garth hit. He changed my life. It was when the dance came out. Of course, I told you a story about my grandfather. He was one of the artists that I looked up to, and I want to be like him and Travis Tritt, Aaron Tippin, and all those guys who were in the early 90s were it for me. So yeah, to see where Garth came from, that was cool.
Yeah,
it's neat when you go to different towns where people, where good artists have come from, and you can kind of get a feel for that community and see how that shaped that guy. You know, like it's just like a couple of musician buddies that are like from like the Delta down in like Mississippi and Alabama and stuff. You get down in there and you're like, all right, now I can see how you come up with some of this stuff because of the environment that you were raised in and the environment you were brought up in. And it's like, all right, so now it makes a little bit more sense when you see how it all came together for that artist, man. It's a very cool thing.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I see it with you. It's so cool to like hang out with you and all your friends here in Missouri, and you're one of the most talented people I've met. But see that you came from this small town and you're surrounded by all these people, and how you're always so supportive of everyone around you, and you're like the most talented guy in the room. That's cool to see as well, But I think you have to have that sort of small town or that reclusive feel to be creative and be that, artist sometimes, and to be alone, to be creative. And then when you're out there, it makes that much, more special.
Yeah. And just being around all the different types of people, like we were talking about a minute ago, taking a little bit of piece of this, a little bit of piece of this, and a piece of this, and then trying to put it together to have your own style. Because the way I look at it as a musician goes is, every musician you listen to, you can hear pieces of their influences at different points through their lives, and being able to, have something that gave me inspiration when I was like 7 years old. Listen, like you're talking about, Garth growing up and listening to that, being able to take that, what you learned from that, and put it together with a BB King or, something, and then mash it up to where that's developing your own style.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, man.
That's the cool thing about musicianship, man. Is just you can see the little pieces of everything that influence people how they got to there.
Right. Yeah, I do. I love that too. Like kind of like doing it backwards. Like I like discovering an artist, and then like you find out that I was really big on this guy, and then well, I haven't heard of that guy, so then I go into that guy's catalog and stuff, and like that kind of thing. So it's fun to learn a lot of music backwards because of people's influences and stuff too. So but yeah, man. Well, let's talk about we mentioned Matt Kennon earlier, and he did a cut of this song for his record, right? Tell Me Something I Don't Know.
Yeah, man. He cut the fire out of it, man.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
This another great tune, man. Like really a fun one, and
Tell me, is there life on Mars? How they built the pyramids? Blackbeard heat is gold, how warm this world really is. Was there a second shooter on that grassy knoll? Tell me something I don't know. Tell me how I'll get to heaven if God knows all my sins. If those pearly gates won't open, is there a back way in where the bad, good old boys like me go? Tell me something I don't know. But don't tell me she ain't coming back. We've been a fool like me can see them. I don't need to hear I told tell me something I don't know. I wonder if I cross your mind, even if it's now and then. And does she lie awake at night, wondering what might have been? You say she got married on a beach in Mexico. Yeah, but tell me something I don't know. And don't tell me she ain't coming back. You've been a fool, I need to see that. I don't need to hear I told you so, that the truth is hard and cold. Should've never let it go. Tell me something I know. I don't need to hear I told you so, that the truth is hard and cold. Should've never let her go. Why did I let her go? Tell me something I don't know. Tell me something I don't know.
But yeah, what about this song, Dean? What do you want to share?
Well, it was our friend Will. Me and Will and I were going to an open mic one night, and he always likes to point out obvious things to me. You know, everybody has that friend. Do you know him? Yeah, I'm probably that friend. It just points out obvious stuff to you all the time, and you're just like, tell me something I don't know, man. Just what's in your head. And you can't write a song called No Shit Sherlock. So it wouldn't be singable. It'd be some nice alliterations in there. But I was like, I'm going to write a song called Tell Me Something I Don't Know. And the original idea was that a guy was sitting in church and the preacher was talking about fire and brimstone. And he had just gotten back from war or whatever. And he was like, man, tell me something I don't know. But it seemed kind of negative. And my buddy Craig, he was like, no, let's make it about a girl. Let's make it about a girl. Because if you write a song about girl or God, you're going to have a hit, you know. And if you write about both, you know, since there's God and the girl in this song, then it's going to be that much better. So we sat down and wrote this song, and Matt came in as a writer on it and just cut it and sang. He sang it in one take. If you're in a bar right now, and there's a jukebox there, go to the jukebox and play Tell Me Something I Don't Know, so maybe I could pay my rent this year. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it was the way this song came about was
B11,
awesome.
Man. B11.
Yeah, B11, man. Play it. It's a hit, boy. Sorry, Matt.
I was telling you, like, I can't help it. You know, it's one of those things that you just, once you hear Matt's voice, you gotta everybody try to do that impression but you can't do it long, man. I don't know how he's got a special vocal cords, because I can't do that voice for very long without coughing and stuff. And
it takes years of development.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but I really drawn to that, like those guys that just sound like men, that that Johnny Cash type of thing or whatever, just like those big deep voices like that. And
I think it's an honor if someone does an impression of you. So,
sure,
recognition,
right?
But yeah, man, great song. Again, this is one that I've been another one that's been kicking around for a while that I've known about, and I've always enjoyed it and stuff. So
thank you, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been having fun asking some of these random questions, and Just been asking everybody, so it's always fun to hear what the different answers that come out of these. But for you, what's a song that always gets stuck in your head, Dean?
Bop, probably.
Yeah.
Little Hanson.
Some
Especially when some Tiffany. I'm driving around Branson. I listen to some Hanson. That's what I was doing last week. No, I love like the Bee Gees, man. I know it sounds crazy, but I listen to them a lot of Jim Croce. A song that gets stuck in my head, probably here's a little song I wrote.
There you go.
Might want to sing it note for note, so don't worry. No.
I get all those like little things, like a little earworm stuck in my head, and like especially like I wake up in the morning and whatever, just like for whatever reason, like I haven't heard this song in 10 years, but now it's on repeat in my head right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And just how did that come to you?
right.
Like what did I dream about last night that gave me that song? Now it's stuck in my head for the first 4 hours of my day.
You're right. Well, I was in a room 227 the other night at my hotel, and so the theme song for that show got stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Well, there's a it's a Chase Rice cut a song. I don't know if it was he wrote on it or not, but it's, I forget the title, but it's about a hotel room like that. And I always thought it was really interesting because it was written from the perspective of the hotel room. All the stories that the hotel room had saw.
Wow,
like this couple were like high school after prom, they came there together, and then years later he comes there with another girl cheating on her or something like that, and like all this kind of, so it's like, and so the hotel room is essentially telling the story of this family or this couple or whatever kind of thing. And
Really?
and I thought it was really well done because I never really heard that particular take on it, hearing like the walls perspective.
If
and
these
stuff.
walls could talk.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's, we definitely have it, but it's like, it was pretty interesting take on a country song like that.
Yeah.
But,
That's pretty creative.
yeah. But yeah, just speaking of hotel rooms, though.
Right.
That's the ultimate writing a song from a different perspective there.
Sure. Yeah. If there were a Dean Meadows action figure, what do you think your pull string might say? You have
My pull string?
Yeah. Do you have
Get me out of here. I don't know.
In Matt Kinnon's voice.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's a hit. I just wrote a hit. Buy my record.
Yeah.
That's what it say.
It's I remember one time a couple of years back when Zach we were down at the cabin, and we were, it's funny you mentioned that, we were making fun of him.
That's a funny question, man.
He was drinking a lot that weekend, and he when he would drink, he gets very emotional, and all weekend he was, man, I love you, man.
Yeah.
He's like, like on Wayne's World, where the guy's like, no, man, I really love you. And so me and his brother-in-law were making fun of her. Like, we had a pull string on him, and he'd just pull it, and he'd be like, I love you, man.
No, I always tell people, like, I tell all my friends and my kids and everyone that nobody's better than you. That's like probably my saying, Years ago when my son was really small, I always hear, other parents tell their kids, hey, you're better than everyone. And I never wanted my kids to be like that. So I was like, hey, it doesn't mean you're better than everybody, but nobody's better than you. And so that's my saying. So probably my pull string would be like, nobody's better than you. Yeah.
There you go. So to tell you that was I watched Toy Story, so that's what kind of inspired
Oh, really?
thinking about Woody's pull string and stuff.
Nobody's better than you.
Right. There's a snake in my.
A couple weeks ago, we were playing. I played that Clapton tune, and that girl that was sitting there, she goes, "Is this a song from Toy Story? You Got a Friend in Me?" I'm like, "What?
What song was that? We were talking about that last night.
He was Aaron here last night he was laughing at when I played that. I played it last night too, and he's like, "Is this the Toy Story song?" I'm like, "No, man, it's Clapton."
Yeah. If there were the day comes that we have a Dean Meadows biopic, who would you like to see cast to play you in the movie version?
Somebody's gonna play me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably like
You ever get
Michael Richards by now, like little Kramer.
He
Gerard Butler, maybe.
All right. Do you ever get that? You look like some certain guys.
It's always him. I was working the other day up in Arkansas, and the ladies there were really nice. They were like, Gerard Butler's here. I was like, he's probably like not the 300 version of Gerard Butler, but I'll take it.
Maybe Hugh Jackman at the end of the last Wolverine movie.
He got really old and gray. Yeah.
Every now and then, I think I look like you when I wake up and my sides are spiked up on the side. I feel like Wolverine. I wake up.
Yeah.
So,
But
but
got to shave your beard down the middle there.
yeah, he's definitely a little more
Better physique.
Yeah.
I missed that last workout session, so it's kind of got me there.
That last one.
Yeah.
The last couple of years.
I mean,
It's I quoted a lot when the Jim Gaffigan talks about when the remote's like across the room or something like that, and he can't get. He's like, shit, I'll go to the gym if I want to work out. And just getting up to go get the remote.
Right.
It reminded me of King and Kingpin when they're like, so it shows here you haven't renewed your bowling association card in like 20 years. What have you been doing? And he's like, well, there was that, and then drinking, mostly drinking. Yeah,
Right.
Drinking.
Is there a song you wish you wrote, Dean?
Oh man.
What?
The one. Well, as far as a song that was mainstream that most people would know, it's Almost Home. Craig Morgan.
Oh yeah, man.
To me, like, I couldn't get enough of that song. I listened to it over and over, and if you like, because I love lyrics that paint you a picture and put you a place that you haven't been. And when he goes into those choruses where he just like paints those beautiful pictures over and over, and you're like, okay, I'm there right now. That's what made me want to be a better writer. I could list a lot of songs from artists that aren't well known, but that's probably the one. If it's mainstream, that's the song that I wish I'd wrote.
Yeah, I agree. That's one that like really hit me hard when I first heard it too. I was like, that's powerful, man. Like just the way you're able to tell that story, and that of course, it's such a sad song too. But that this guy has to do that to escape from his reality and stuff. But
Right.
but yeah, it's a really well written song. And I got to meet Craig one time at
Really?
he came to town and did like a festival type of thing here in O'Fallon, and I got to it was like a text meet and greet type of deal, and we won and got to go sit on his tour bus and
Nice.
he had a glass of wine and took a picture with us and gave us autograph and stuff. So
you just got to sit down with him, hang out on the bus.
just a moment, just and it was cool, just to have a second of his time to say hey, and big fans.
That's
So-
one
Right.
song we were talking about singing something with like heart and feeling, That song's so good that you can sing that without conviction and it's still going to grab somebody.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Even a guy that plays it terrible. I've heard some bad versions of the song played. It's still like, man, it's still so good. Even though he's not doing a very good job on it, it's still a great
You can
song.
paint that picture,
Yeah.
and just when someone could close their eyes and be where you want them to be, that's the greatest writing there is.
Yeah, man. What about a dream duet or collaboration? Is there somebody in particular you'd like to work with?
If Jim Croce could come back and be around, he's the one person I'd want to hang out with and figure out how he wrote the most amazing songs there are. To me, he's my favorite artist of all time. So live, I'm not sure, but as far as any artist that was my favorite, he's the one.
Yeah. That'd be cool, man. Yeah. You were doing your Matt Kinnon impression. Do you do any celebrity impressions? Do you do any other voices?
Yeah, I can do a few. I do We do some Sling Blade if you want. I love that in that movie when he goes up to order the French fries. He's like, "You got anything good to eat in there?" And the guy's like, "Well, we have French fries." "What you got?" He's like, "We got the small and the large." He's like, "Give me some of them big ones." Like they were big fries and small fries.
That's another one. You just get stuck doing that voice all the time too. Like me and my, I work with this guy Ray, and he's like big on that one, and Napoleon Dynamite. So we'll, depending on the day, we'll just get stuck in a loop of doing movie quotes between those two movies, and like,
Right.
So, but yeah, it's such a silly, it's another sad movie. But some of those lines in that movie are so funny, and especially Dwight Yoakam's parts.
There ain't no band, Randy.
Yeah.
That's my dad's favorite movie. He loved that movie.
Yeah, it was a good one. Is there a speaking of movies though? Is there a movie or TV show you wish you were in? Like, is there a certain world that you would?
I'll give anything to be like the neighbor from Jerry to Kramer. I just want to be one guy down the hall. I live next to Newman if I could. You know, I'd be Newman's like friend. They're like, "Who's that?" "Hello, Newman." Yeah. "Hello, Dean." But that's the greatest thing in the world to me is like Dean. Seinfeld. Jerry. Like that whole like Seinfeld. I think the reason they're like, you just want to be that character who just doesn't care about anyone but yourself, but you can't be. So I think that's why we relate to Seinfeld so much, or I do. But yeah, if I could be in anything, it'd be like living in Jerry's building there.
Yeah. It's funny how you can relate any type of life instance to an episode of Seinfeld. Right. if you've watched the whole thing, you know, you can. All right, this is a lot like this episode.
Yeah. There's quite a few, like, I mean, like I'll it's just great writing. I mean, it tells a lot of our stories throughout between those characters and stuff. So there's always something. But yeah, there's there's a bunch of series that are really good about that, where it's just like there's a character in that show for everybody, and that's like we talking Office Space earlier, and again, like if you worked in an office, like those people are real life people that you work that work in every office. So that's why it's such a great relatable show, because you worked with those people in some sense.
Definitely.
So
I love Seinfeld because I think the writers on that show could have been great songwriters, because all the shows kind of hooked at the end, and they all kind of came together like a few different stories. And then even in later episodes, they would hook around. And how they wrote those, it had to be like writing a song. How are we going to make this hook at the end?
Right.
Where's our slap in the face?
In 23 minutes.
Right, exactly. A 23-minute song.
Yeah.
My favorite hook is like when George gets mad at Elaine for taking credit for the big salad. And then like 2 seasons later, when he learns how to speak Portuguese, he orders a grande ensalada grande. You know, he orders the big salad, and you don't catch on to that. You know, that's so silly, but those are the type of hooks that's why I love that show so much.
Yeah,
that's like the episode where Cremericorp or whatever it is, and they drop that ball of oil on her. And hello. I'm not looking up. Oh, this isn't going to be good.
No, not at all.
Well, let's play one more live. This is just Dean and a guitar, and this is a song called "The Way She Looks." And this is the first time I believe it's the first time I heard this song. Is this a newer one for you?
Yeah. It's kind of. I wrote it a few years ago with a fella named Matt Alderman. We sat down, and my daughter Madison, she's 18 now, but when she was younger, and even now, she just noticed. She points out things that you just couldn't imagine seeing. You know, you'll be driving down the highway, and you'll see this big Hooters billboard sign, and she was like, "Daddy, did you see that sign back there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I saw it." She was like, right next to it was a tree with the prettiest purple flowers on it. And I was like, oh, I missed that, you know.
Yeah.
I missed that for the mountains,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And then she always just sees things that you would never see, even when you're watching a television show or a movie. She's looking in the background. And I always thought, I love the way she looks at things. And so that's where the title of that came from. And it's probably my favorite song that I've ever written. Just the way it kind of gives tribute to that person who just sees what we can't see, and they see life that in a better and more positive version than we see it. It gives you that hope. So I love the way this song came together, and give Matt props for coming up with that melody.
When I see a stranger, she sees a friend she doesn't know yet. When I see the rain pouring down, she sees a wildflower growing. And when I see an old photograph, she sees a precious memory. When we catch the reflection of a man that sometimes I can't stand, she only sees the best in me. The way she looks at the world like she's still a little girl, so much better than me. The way she looks at life, I know her eyes see what I can't see. The way she looks right through like she always know what I am ain't the man I can be. She's always been one to judge a cover by the book, and I love the way she looks. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, I love the way she looks. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. With a first glance you might think she's just another pretty face, and on any given night she wouldn't give me the time of day. But her beauty's even deeper than those deep blue eyes. Yeah, she light the night and still wild, drop you dead with a beautiful smile. I know there's so much more to find. The way she looks at the world like she's still a little girl, so much better than me. The way she looks at life, I know her eyes see what I can't see. The way she looks right through like she always know what I am ain't the man I can be. She's always been one to judge a cover by the book, and I love the way she looks. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, I love the way she looks. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. She gave me a whole brand new point of view. The way she looks at the world like she's still a little girl, so much better than me. When she looks at life, I know her eyes see what I can't see. When she looks right through like she always knows what I am ain't the man I can be. She's always been one to judge a cover by the book. She's always been one to judge a cover by the book, and I love the way she looks. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, I love the way she looks. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah, I love the way she looks.
Yeah, very cool. Is this you kind of alluded to working on the follow up the album and stuff? You had a bunch of new batch of songs that you want to cut, and is this one that might be appearing on that record?
It's definitely going to be one of them. Yeah, we got 16 new songs. My first record had 10. I had to pick out of about 50 songs that I wrote to get those 10, and then there'll be 16 on the new record. And we're kind of recording it right now. It's been a few years in the making, and it's a little slowed down right now because of all the things going on. But yeah, hopefully in the next year we'll have a new record coming out with the 16 new tracks.
Yeah, man, could be great. That'd be nice to get some new recordings out there and stuff, and I would love to hear that, man.
Did Matt cut that song? Didn't
Matt Alderman?
Yeah, I thought I can't believe it hasn't been cut, honestly. But I thought, didn't he put it on an album too? Or
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if he did or not.
I know he had like a YouTube video of it, but
Yeah, I wonder what happened to that. I was trying to find it the other day. That one that Jamie did, that photographer.
Right.
We couldn't find it, but I know it's out there somewhere.
yeah.
And that was a really good, very good quality.
And you can find that on Reverb Nation as well. If you
Yeah.
want to hear a track of that.
Yeah, man. That, do you still? I mean, are you actively trying to pitch songs? Trying to get cuts and stuff? Do you?
Oh yeah.
You still working at that quite a bit?
Yeah, and I've go to Nashville every now and then, and still networking down there. Have a lot of my co-writers who are still at it, and I kind of ride their coattails and be like, "I'll write with them," so because I know they're in there.
We know he's plugging that one,
Right,
so
he'll plug
let me
it.
get on that one. Yeah.
Let me get we get on this right. And actually, that song, "The Way She Looks," my son is friends with Gary's family. So we just pitched it to Rascal Flatts. So hopefully
yeah.
that'll pick up. So that'd be nice.
There you go.
I get tens of dollars out of that. That'd be sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't know. I do find it songwriting. Again, I'm a giant fan. I do a monthly showcase prior to March of 2020 and stuff. And but I'm a big fan. But I heard Stapleton was on Stern Show a while back, and he was talking about his writing and then and his story and stuff. And he's like, he just learned that was a job, and he's like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. And I'm like, I just think it's interesting to his thing. Like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And then turns out like he's one of the best to do it. It's like he's such a great writer, but just a funny story the way he shared that. But I do think it's cool that people, especially Nashville, I think is great for the networking wise, like you're saying, to getting to collaborate with other writers and hopefully inspire some other great songs. And it's a good way to link up.
I saw Jason Isbell make a post a couple weeks back, and it was like, Nashville's banning more than 6 people being in a gathering. Where are all the hit songs going to come from now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to write Honky Tonk Badonka Donk.
Yeah, where are you going to write Honky Tonk Badonk? There's 17 writers on it.
He's so funny online, man. Jason's so good.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah. He and another just incredible writer. That guy, man, so good. That Cover Me Up still gets me. Like
that whole album is just unbelievable. It's still one that I've listened to 100 times, and I can put it in and listen to it from top to bottom right now and love every song.
Right. Yeah.
More than the one before it, And that's what's a shame about what's going on with the way that music is being put out now is how many good artists are out there putting out a full album where you can listen to it from top to bottom anymore, and it's sad.
Yeah. You don't take that journey with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Conversation comes up a lot on this show because everybody's trying to figure it out what's the best way to go about it. It seems like radio wants singles and stuff, and that's the way Spotify and various things are kind of pushing that way to that format. But again, people always come up about attention span and like listening to a full length album, so they started putting out EPs with 3, 4, 5 songs. And then and I feel like also maybe an EP is a good way because then you can maybe put 2 out a year or one every year or whatever it is, and that way you can kind of stay more engaged and maintain a fan base attention longer. Constantly hitting them with new material. But again, as a fan of music, I love a full length record. I like you're saying, the whole journey throughout the record. But no matter what, at the end of that record, I'm still gonna be like, all right, when's the next one? It's like, if I'm a fan of music,
I want more, man. I just want more.
You don't hear people cutting out 10, 12 cuts on a record anymore.
That is a very good perspective way to look at it, and that's just like Matt does. We were talking about Kennan, he puts out 3 or 4, a couple times a year, and
with 6 songs on it. It works for him.
Right. But there's no rules. That's the thing. The music industry's changed so much today.
Not anymore.
There's no rules to any of it. Do whatever works for you and what's the best way. But
You just got to figure out a way to make some money.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, is making money on music anymore. It's just,
I think that's why so many of them just like put out a record and whatever, cut the song, but they I think most of them are making their money through, and prior to this year, 2020 and stuff, but live shows, it's like, that's why so many of them get out there and do the big tours and the merch sales and stuff at the shows and all that kind of things. But like, nobody's really making a ton of money off of the songs necessarily in particular, but it's a good way to, when radio plays it, then it gets people into your other shows and stuff. So that's why they don't mind putting it on Spotify's and stuff for free, because that way they can build the audience more that way. But
just kind of bringing people in.
Right.
I know I was, when we were playing with Brent, we did a kind of a little tour with Brent, I guess it was 2 years ago. And Brent's merch guy was Jason Isbell's. We were talking about him, his merch guy. And he's like, Jason did over like 1.5 million in merch in 2019.
Merch, really?
It's unbelievable how much money they're making in merch.
Sure. Well, and you're cutting out the middle, because if you're selling it on the line, you got to deal with it. But like if you're selling it directly at the shows, and it's like
it's cash and carry.
Right. So
how much money is getting hidden from taxes on that shit? I need some money. All right, go grab it out of the merch bag.
But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's a crazy business, man. It's like, hopefully, I'd love to figure it all out, how my friends can make more money doing it, because I have, I know some of the most talented people in the world, like, and they just can't figure out a way to do it as a living, because it's hard to pay the bills sometimes. They all still have to have the day job and do whatever. So
I think success in the music business is in your heart these days. A lot of times, especially for artists like me, just because I get a lot of like, oh, are you upset that you didn't make it big or whatever? And like, man, I've done more things that I ever dreamed of, and and the success is within. It's because I just spent that money just like I spent every other dollar I ever made, But the memories and everything, just being a part of that music business over the years is that's the success to me.
Yeah. I do the show. I make a couple bucks, and I have a sponsor, but not really. Well, not make, because it just helps pay the bills, the cost behind the scenes, the hosting it all that stuff. But like you're saying, this show has opened more opportunities for me that I would have ever found on my own, without doing it. So like, I've got to meet so many incredible people. I've got to, it started me doing a monthly showcase. I started doing concerts, putting on events and stuff.
Right.
A lot of these great things would have never happened if I had never picked up the mic in the first place to press record and start doing it. So it's like, that's what's really fun. Like you're saying, those little things are priceless. You can't put money on these opportunities that happen just because you put yourself out there to start singing songs and stuff. So.
Some of the friendships, man, that you make. Some of my best friends are guys I wouldn't have ever met if I wasn't playing music.
Exactly.
And the same way with experiences, like.
And that's what I sat down with all sorts of people on the show for sometimes meeting for the very first time on the mic, and by the end of it, we're best buddies, and we're friends and for life and kind of thing. And so it's cool that this show and music in general has brought so many people into my life. And man.
That's like you. And the first time, when Will moved down to Nashville and was living with you at that time, I remember when he called me, he goes, "Man, you got to meet my buddy. You got to meet Dean. He's awesome. He's a lifer." And that's what we used to always say, is when we would meet people, usually guys that you meet, you can tell within the first couple minutes whether or not you're going to have a friendship with this guy that's going to carry out for years, and we used to always say that. And when you meet somebody, man, he's a lifer. He's going to be a lifelong friend, and it's weird how
that's awesome,
and it's weird how he said that about you, and then we became friends. Obviously, you coming through town and playing a lot of shows with us and stuff.
Yeah.
And then how, you disconnect for a while and you go about doing your life stuff. And then, like I say, it comes back full circle for that lifer effect, Right.
Like it never missed a beat.
Like it never missed a beat. Yeah.
Yep. That's a beautiful thing when you can just, I definitely have those buddies where we can pick up. Like it was yesterday, and even though it's been 10, 12 years, whatever, something like that. So,
right.
It's like you never missed a conversation,
Yeah. But yeah, it's good to have those people in your life, man.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah.
Well, Dean, this has been incredible, man. I'm really glad we were able to do this today. I'm glad you came to visit town, and we had some time to sit down and do this. And big thanks again to Lance having us over and playing, man. That sounded really good today. I'm excited to hopefully, like I said, we'll get some of these new recordings going.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you and great to be on here, man. And to see you have so much success doing this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate
really
you
proud of you, Shane. I can't believe it's sticking with this as long as you have, man. It's everybody in St. Louis, knows, like Shane's the guy because he's stuck with it so long. It's awesome.
That's great.
I think like people ask me like sometimes like about the success of the show, and I credit to longevity, just the fact that so many people get an idea like I'm gonna do that, and then they just fizzles out. And so but I stuck with it. I believe in it, and I mean, even if I'm not, again, making a lot of money or anything like that, I still have a ton of fun doing it. So it's like I still have a great time just recording it. And but yeah, almost 7 years of doing the show now. So yeah, man, a lot of content out there. But yeah, I appreciate you. Lance, you've been a part of this since like the early days, man, very beginning. So.
Yeah. So I remember the first one we did was in the loft. Out in the barn. Yeah, that was a good one
for sure.
That was a good room to play in too.
Yeah, we all come a long way since those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you both. Being great friends all these years. So I'm
thank you, buddy.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.